Today we're going to do a demo of the justified gallery block for FolioBlocks Pro, which is a premium WordPress plugin. Let's go ahead and start by adding the block into the block editor. We can type \, and then the first couple letters of justified. And now we've added the block into our editor. Before we add any images to this, let's go ahead and set the width we want to use. And today we'll use a wide width for this demo. Now we can select some images. We already have some in the media library, so we'll use those. And we'll create a new gallery with them. Now you see that the gallery has rendered. The first thing you should know is that the gallery renders with the images as inner blocks, which means that every image inside this gallery is a block. With that, you can do some pretty cool things. You can grab any image and just drag it around and move it. And the gallery will recompose itself in real time. You can also grab images in the list view and drag them and drop them where you might want them. And again, everything recomposes in real time. You can also click on any image to bring up its image settings on the right-hand side. So you see this image, you can change the image. You have the image caption, the image title, and the alternative text available. And then as you're working with the gallery, additional settings can display down here as well. Let's go and look at the actual gallery settings. We'll click on Justified Gallery Block, and now you see the settings have appeared on the right-hand side. So the first thing to note is the resolution option. This sets the size of the image that's used in the thumbnails. It pulls in the default sizes from WordPress, and it also pulls in any additional sizes that your theme might have registered. After that, you have a row height slider, which lets you set the height of the row. So we can drag this down and make things really small, or we can make them a bit bigger. The next setting is to remove the image gap between images. We can turn that on, and you see everything sits flush with one another. And then the following setting is to randomize the image order. Turn that on. You see everything has been scrambled and randomized. Now, when this is activated on the front end, every time the page is loaded, you get a new order. We'll turn that off for now. The following section is the lightbox and hover settings. We can enable the lightbox on the front end, and you get an additional option asking if you want to show the image caption inside of the lightbox. Let's turn that on. And let's reload this real quick. And there you go. You have the image caption inside the lightbox. Turn that off. And then you have show overlay on hover. And when you hover over the images, you get the image title as a overlay. The default option is this nice blur overlay, but there are a couple different ones that you can pick from available. You can switch to a fade. You can switch to a gradient, which puts the image title at the bottom. And then lastly, you can use a chip overlay, which puts the image title in a chip at the top left of the image. The following section is gallery filtering settings. And here you can enable image filtering. So we can turn that on, and we get a filter bar added to the top of the gallery. In the settings, we have a setting to set the alignment, so we can move that to the left, keep it in the center, or set it to the right. We'll keep it center for now. And then beneath that, you have an option to add your categories. So for these images, let's add some categories. We could have wildlife, fashion, we have landscape, architecture. I think that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and add it. Now, when you click on the image, you see we have a new section in the image settings for the gallery filtering. So we can select our category, put wildlife there, go to the next one. And it's really fast to do this. Do one last one. And now you can see you can filter them. Now you might be thinking that this filter bar doesn't look so good on this dark background, and there are some options to style that. So if we go into the styles panel for the gallery block, at the bottom you see gallery filter bar styles. So let's go ahead and change the color on the background of the active item. We'll make that blue. And for the inactive items, let's change both their color and their background. So there you go. I think that looks much nicer with the dark background. Save that. Let's just look on the front end. And there it is on the front end. Pretty cool. Now that we've done that, let's turn that off and let's take a look at the e-commerce settings. You have an option to enable image downloads. Turn that on. And now when you hover over an image, you get this download icon. And that will allow you to download the full resolution image. There's also an option if you want to show the download icon on hover or always. You can turn on always, and there it is. Turn that off for now. You then have an option to enable WooCommerce integration. Now you should know that this will only display if WooCommerce is installed and activated on your website. Let's turn that on. And similarly, you get an option asking if you want to show the add to cart icon on hover or always. We'll leave that on hover. And this works just like the gallery filtering. You can click on an image and you now have an e-commerce section in the settings, and you can search your WooCommerce store. So let's search for this. And now we've linked this with that product, and you see it gets the add to cart icon. Now, when you have WooCommerce integration activated, there are some additional settings that are added to other areas. So if we go back to the lightbox, let's turn on the lightbox one more time. Previously, you just had the option to show the image caption in the lightbox, but you can now switch from showing the image caption to the product info. So we put it on product info and we hit save. And then we reload this. Now, when I click on this, I get the product name and I get the product price. Images that aren't connected with products, they will default back to their normal behavior, just showing the caption. That is the lightbox. And then for the overlay on hover, it's kind of a similar thing where you now have the option to show the image title, the default behavior, or show the product info. So put that on product info, and now you see you get the product info. And an image that doesn't have it falls back to just showing the image title. So that's WooCommerce integration. You then have this advanced tab, and in the advanced tab, you have disable right-click on page and enable lazy load of images, which is pretty self-explanatory. Finally, you have the styles panel. We already looked at this earlier. Here you can set the background on the gallery. So if you wanted to give a background to the gallery, you could do that. You can also add padding to it. So let's add a bunch of padding and make it a bit more noticeable, like that. We'll turn that off. And then you have a section with image styles. And here you can set a border color, and border radius for the image. So let's go ahead and add a border width. There you go. And you could add a border radius if you like. And then if you want, you can enable a drop shadow as well. Now the drop shadow, you can't really see it so good with this dark background, but if we go on the parent block and we drop the background out, you can see it nicely. So that is the justified gallery block in FolioBlocks Pro. Thanks for watching.